My name is Connie Breech, and I'm seeking my third term for the Asbury Park Board of Education. My connection with the city is I've been a resident for 18 years. I've worked for the Asbury Park Police Department for the last 16 years after transferring from the Sheriff's Office. I'm seeking my third term for the Board of Education, hopefully a full term this time around, but I've also student taught in the past. I've been a school resource officer, so I've worked with the children of Asbury Park in the middle school, and I have a nonprofit foundation that I founded that also deals with the children and the families of Asbury Park for the past 16 years. Well, I'm seeking my third term. My first term, I only served 2 years, and I resigned due to personal and some professional reasons. And I was elected 2.5 years ago for my second term. Unfortunately, this year, my term is shortened by 8 months, unfortunately. So I want to go for that third time and hopefully get all 3 years in and see our superintendent, Dr. Ripollette. I'd like to see him through his 5-year plan for the students of Asbury Park. Well, the state is the same as it's been the last I'd say over the last decade. Our cost per student is extremely high. It's one of the highest in the states. We don't have a very high graduation rate. Unfortunately, there have been some things that have been addressed the last couple years, and I think the direction that the school system and our administration are taking in the last 2 years is in a positive note. We're seeing a better graduation rate and also career development. I want to see not only graduate, but also go on to college or military or some other form of trade schools so they can come back to Asbury Park and also give back to the city and make a difference in our community. I think as a board in a whole, we need to have better communication as far as all board members, and also maintain our fiscal responsibility to the city and to the residents and to our children, and also maintain our ethical responsibility to our Board of Education and to our city and community.
My name is Nicole Harris, and I'm running for the Board of Education. I was raised here in Asbury Park, of course born in Neptune at the hospital, but spent my childhood here, graduated from Asbury Park High School in 1998, went on to attend Delaware State University where I received my bachelor's degree in primary education, and so I am a certified teacher, and I'm currently in school at Drew University. Studying to get my Master's of Divinity. So, and my connection to education, I come from a family of teachers, as well as being a certified teacher myself, although I'm not currently teaching. But I guess my whole entire life has kind of just been involved with education. But growing up here, I went through Asbury Park Public School System from elementary all the way to high school. In fact, I still keep in touch with Mr. West, who is my principal at Bangs Avenue, but currently Barack Obama School. He was one of my mentors, and I'm very proud of that. And also just have always been involved volunteering, tutoring, working at summer camps, just always been involved in volunteering in education my whole life. I think it wasn't really optional growing up because I had so many teachers in my family, so everybody had to help me. I am running to serve on the Board of Education because I deeply care about the educational system here in Asbury Park. I currently serve on the board as the president this year, but I've served for the past several years, and I really kind of feel like we've made some progress, and I would like to continue to work towards the better, brighter school system that we've been talking about, that we've been working towards. So I want to continue to serve the children and the families here of Asbury Park. So I'm running in hopes to continue to do that. My biggest concerns are our test scores and also our curriculum. We've made some improvements to curriculum. We have a new director of curriculum and instruction who has done an awesome job since she's been here about a year, Well, this is, I think, on our second year. But I was the chairperson for the curriculum committee for 2 years, and we just saw the concerns. It was just right there, plastered on the wall, that we had a lot of work that we had to do in curriculum. So those are my greatest concerns, would be our test scores and the curriculum. So although I think we've done some work towards improving it, I think there's a lot of work yet to do. Literacy. We have a partnership with Scholastics right now. We are the first district to have a partnership with Scholastics where they're focusing on the entire district. Scholastics has done a great job in turning around schools that have had trouble with literacy and reading levels for helping students to reach and exceed their reading levels. And so we've partnered with Scholastics, and that work is just beginning. So I think I would want to focus there because we spent a lot of time, we spent a lot of resources and finances in that area. And so I'm looking forward to seeing kids that are below reading level exceed and go beyond their reading levels. Also, I'd like to see an improvement in our PARCC tests. So I think would like to focus on that, and also parent involvement in improving those test scores. We just opened the Dorothy McNish Parent Center back up after years of it being closed. I think it was closed for like 10 years or something. So that's just been reopened. So those are a couple of areas. There's so many things I would like to focus on, but let's just stick with literacy and curriculum as the things that I think that we could really benefit from focusing on right now.
All right, my name is Barbara Lesinski, and I'm running for the Asbury Park Board of Education this April 19th. I've lived in the city over 30 years. I have been a police dispatcher, a former police dispatcher. I spent 17 and a half years serving the community in that capacity. I've also served on the Asbury Park Housing Authority from 1994 to 98 as a commissioner and also a chairperson during one of the saddest periods of the Asbury Park Housing Authority, and helped to bring it back to health to one of the best housing authorities in the nation. And if you ask anybody about Ms. Sweeney, who was the executive director, who was there at the Housing Authority at that time, they still remember and they'll smile. I started National Night Out in 1996, National Night Out Against Crime, and also the first Make a Difference Day in Asbury Park. I spent a lot of time serving this community, and I was fortunate enough to win the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce Carousel Award for Public Official last year. I am serving on the Board of Education because I want to continue what I had started a few years ago. I spent 7.5 years on it. I was not reelected the last election. I lost by 10 votes. And I also want to make sure that Lamont Rapolette, our new superintendent, continues the good things he's doing. I was one of the champions of his hiring, along with Angela Bez Anderson, who's presently on the board. And I need him to stay here. Actually, we all need him to stay here so he can continue his good work in teaching our kids how to read, to get them to grade level, and institute all the other initiatives he started. One of my concerns about the school district is the lack of voter participation and interest in the school district. During the 80s and 90s, it was a dog-eat-dog world around here with elections in the Board of Education. People were engaged, they were knowledgeable, and they cared about the outcome of the elections and how the school district was being run. Recently, I see a resurgence of the interest, and I think people have to get involved. Our kids are important. We have to make sure that we're there for them and that we support them, and we make sure they get a quality education. If elected, which I hope I am, along with Connie and Dominick, I plan to focus on making sure the children get the education they need, continue the good effort of reading at grade level, and make sure kids at 8th grade, when they graduate, stay here in the school district. There's no reason why they have to go outside of this community if we do the right thing and we do what we need to for the children's education. It's not a difficult task. It's a little bit, you have to stay on track, You can't waver. We can't bow down to special interests. We can't play games with politics. We have to continue to think about the children. You know, when you get elected, it's not about who supported you. It's not about who voted for you. You're there for the children, and hopefully that the elected team is the one who is there for the kids.
Hi everyone, my name is Derrick Grant and I am running for the Board of Education here in Asbury Park. Well, my connection with Asbury Park began with my grandparents who came here from the South and bought their first home right on Prospect Avenue in the late 40s, where they raised their children. And as a result, I was raised and born here, right in Asbury Park. My church has a long standing here in Asbury Park. They've worked in community relations and things of that nature. And I mentioned that because my desire to work in economic justice and social justice for all people here in Asbury Park and abroad is where that really developed. Well, I'm running to serve on the Board of Education for 3 specific reasons. One, I understand that our youth, our children, are part of an emerging generation, and one day that generation will be the leaders and innovators of our society. Second, I want to ensure and equip our children that they can live to their fullest and greatest potential. Lastly, I want to continue to work with the Board of Education through the leadership of Dr. Repillette, as well as the administration, who's been working for progress and change within our district. So I want to be part of that change and part of that process. One of my biggest concerns with the state of the school district here in Asbury Park is making sure we have a strong, well-rounded curriculum. Also, another concern would be strengthening and increasing our test scores. I would continue to work with, again, the leadership of Dr. Repillette as well as the administration to ensure that we do have a well-rounded curriculum that meets the core curriculum for the state of New Jersey. And if that curriculum isn't implemented, we will over time see an increase of our test scores. Well, if elected to the Board of Education here in Asbury Park, I intend to work with parents as well as stakeholders in Asbury Park to increase parental involvement within the school district. It's my philosophy that the first educators of children are their parents or their caregivers. So we really need parents to become stakeholders, to become involved with their children's education. So I will definitely be working to increase that participation, as well as working to implement a well-rounded, strong curriculum for our youth. And also, when I was in the Asbury Park Middle School as a 6th grader, I was in the band under the leadership of Mr. Carl Crudup. And during that time, the Asbury Park Band was probably one of the best bands in the state of New Jersey. So I would definitely work with our teachers, work with administration, to make our band the great band that it was back in the day when I was in the middle school under Mr. Carl Crudup.
I'm Dominick Latorraca, and I'm running for the Asbury Park Board of Education.
Okay. Would you tell us about your relationship to the city of Asbury Park and your connection to the field of education?
Sure. We bought our house and became residents of Asbury Park in 2008. We just love the people, the diversity, the cultural offerings, the potential for Asbury, and what Asbury has to offer. As we got acquainted with Asbury, we joined a church, Trinity Episcopal Church, based essentially in large part to its commitment to the community. And I've served on that vestry board, and we provide a Saturday soup kitchen, we provide a food pantry, we do local youth programs. Most recently, in the past year, Jackie and I opened a small business. We decided to do it. We're going to do it in Asbury Park, Purple Glaze, donuts, etc. And the mission for that business as well is to serve the community. We think it's the right thing to do, and it's the right thing for business. The community has supported us, and we support the community. We've probably sponsored more than 20 events so far, school events, as well as other local charities. We've had daycare centers in. We've sponsored 2 elementary classes around the holidays. So a lot of what we do revolves around serving the community. And that's a big part of why I'm running for the school board. In terms of my experience, I have more than 30 years of experience in higher education. I began teaching at the community college level and then took progressively more responsible positions in administration of higher education. So I have experience managing budgets of up to $40 million, running divisions with over 200 people, and I feel like I can bring those skills and experience to the board and help Asbury Park move forward. Most recently and currently, I work at Brookdale Community College as Director of Workforce Development, where I provide career training and job placement services to individuals in Monmouth County, including individuals who may be getting grant assistance as low-income students or unemployed individuals. So all of those things, I think, are part of why I have a commitment to Asbury Park and I have a commitment to education. Running to serve on the board, I think as we moved here in 2008, we saw a lot of changes in Asbury for the better. And the school system is probably one of those areas that has not improved as quickly as other areas of the city and the community have. So I feel like with my background, with my experience, I can bring some help and support to raising the level of the school system. I think we have to start with the acknowledgement of the widely held perception that the schools are not working well. We're not graduating enough students, and test scores are too low. And despite that, we're spending $30,000 a year per pupil. So we have to focus on what can be done to raise test scores and to graduate more students. We're losing students primarily after middle school. They're either choosing other options, other places to go, or eventually dropping out. There has to be intervention to prevent those kinds of things. We have to support and evaluate the administrators putting in place, and they have put in place, plans now to improve both test scores and what can be done to graduate more students. We have to work together as a whole community, including the business community, and have everyone engaged and involved in how students can broaden their education and be successful. We need to, as a community, publicize and celebrate successes that occur. And when you do that and you're focused on that consistently over time, not only do you do a better job, but this perception that Asbury Park is not for the student who is going into high school is one that we can disavow. Well, it all starts with the budget. Your priorities are established by looking at your budget and where your resources are going. As I mentioned, we have a lot of resources per student. Are those resources being efficiently and effectively applied to our main goals, increasing test scores and increasing the number of graduating students. So you have to have a sense of the budget and work with the administrators to have an efficient budget that puts people and all other resources in the right place to bring about success. More specifically, I'll probably be engaged in two areas that I'm currently engaged in as a Brookdale employee. That's with the Parent Success Center, where we're bringing in activities, workshops, services for parents of Asbury Park children so that they can raise their level of education, and in doing so, engage better with their children so that their children raise their level of education. And then the second initiative involves bringing college credit to the Asbury Park High School classes. As we begin to do things like that, people begin to realize there are real benefits in keeping their children in the Asbury Park School District from K through 12. These are both initiatives that the current superintendent, the current administration has put forth, and I believe it's critical that we as a board support them. And I believe that I would do that, my running mates Connie Breech and Barbara Lesinski would do that, and together we can move ahead together for a greater Asbury Park and the Asbury Park school system.